creating systems to expand care for mental health in the community, and for creating new opportunities for people. And I think that legacy is going to continue.
All the duties that she undertook them with conviction, with a focus towards results.
The deceased was the founder of a recovery center at the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital in Eldoret that offered skills to patients who had recovered from mental health challenges before their integration to the community.
In the Kenyan Psychiatric Association,
as doctors continue to strike countrywide, Mombasa County Governor His Excellency Abdul Samad Nasir has asked the doctors in Mombasa not to allow problems with the national government affect the counties. While in Malindi, Governor Nasir said there is no single month that doctors have received their salaries late in Mombasa. His Kilifi counterpart Gideon Mungaro also echoed his remarks by saying that he also pays his salaries on time. Hence, the problem with the national government should remain with the national government.
Nikamwambia hata kule Mombasa hakuna daktari ambaye kwamba anayecheleweshwa mshahara wake. Promotion tulifanya. Chache zile ambazo kwamba ziko njiani tunajaribu kuzimaliza. Kama ni madawa tumelipa watu wa KEMSA, tumelipa wale watu wa meds. Kama ni NHIF tumetoa chungu ya pesa. Tunawasihi na tunawaomba madaktari, haya mambo ya kusema ya kwa dhambi ya serikali kuu ibebwe na watu ambao kwamba wako chini, itakuwa ni dhulma. Mutakuwa mnawadhulumu hawa watu. Usikie madaktari hawaendi kazini, huijui la kwanza, hulijui la pili, yani mambo ambayo kwamba hayahusiani na watu wa county, hayahusiani na Abdul Samad, hayahusiani na Mungaro, yenye kuhusiana na mambo ya serikali kuu, naamua tu kwenda. Mimi nitawasihi mulioko hapa, kwa sababu watu wakidhoofika afya zao itakuwa ni jambo ambalo kwamba si sawa hata mbele ya Mwenyezi Mungu.
Tafadhali hakikisheni mnatibu wagonjwa. Nashukuru kwamba nimeona wanajaribu sana. Hawataki kupigwa picha. Kwa hivyo mkienda hospitali msiwapige picha. Wanaogopa kupigwa picha, lakini nimeambia wahudumie watu na wachana mambo ya Nairobi. Hapa ni Kilifi, si Nairobi. Na ile kesi yao wako na serikali kuu, wamalize na serikali kuu. Mimi na Abdul Samad hatuna kesi na hao. Kwa hivyo waendelee kuhudumia wananchi wetu.
3 bandits have been killed by police officers in Kalemunyang, Loima Sub-County, Turkana County. The inveterate bandits are the main suspects in the murder of 3 Nigerians who were killed in Uganda 6 months ago, which led to the expulsion of herders from the Turkana community in Uganda and the arrest of 43 youths from the community for allegedly possessing illegal weapons. This comes on the backdrop of Interior CS Kithure Kindiki's visit to Turkana County for efforts to establish strategies to strengthen security, especially at the borders and areas with violence and livestock theft.
Jana kitu kama baada ya masaa 6 hivi, hawa walivu walipatikana zaidi ya ng'ambo huku sehemu ya Kangalta, na walipatikana na waliweza kulazwa chini. Walikuwa na silaha bunduki 2 na pia hizo bunduki zilichukuliwa, na pia wale watu walikuwa naishi zaidi ya Veterelim Kataruk wamekuwa na hiyo tatizo tu. Pia sisi hapa tukiwa kwa ground hatukuwa tunalala kwa maboma, tulikuwa tunaenda kulala nje huko kupitia kwa hao walifu. Lakini jana vile tulisikia habari hao watu wamelazwa, saizi watu hakuna wasiwasi wako nayo.
Hao wajambazi ni wale criminals kubwa sana hapa Turkana, tena kwa hii sehemu yetu. Tunaimisa serikali ya Kenya wafuatilie karibu mpaka sote wanase. Na watu kabila hii ndio hata wale walifanya uhalifu Uganda, ndio sasa wale wa vijana walichukua na serikali ya Uganda mateka kwa sababu ya uhalifu kama hii.
Hata watu ameogopa ile watu anakuja hapa, ameogopa hapa kwetu hapa. Kwa sababu mambo ya hiyo kijana. Sasa iko saa hii msituni. Sisi hata vile saa hizi tunatembea kwa msituni. Tunatembea tu na Mungu. Kwa sababu mtu akishika bunduki sasa hakuna, sasa utafanya namna gani? Si wewe utauliwa tu. Ndio tunasema serikali asaidie kwa njia ile ambaye yeye atakumbuka vile ataokoa sisi kwa hiyo mambo.
All right, let's talk newspapers. The Standard, Ruto's big silence as healthcare system collapse. Ruto's big silence as healthcare system collapses. Now, President William Ruto has been silent on the ongoing crisis after dispatching his chief of staff, Felix Koskei, to end the DICS strike. 2 weeks later, even lab technicians are about to follow clinicians and doctors in downing tools. Now we've got medical officers, we've got dental officers, we've got clinical officers now on strike. Nurses have threatened strike across the country by the Kenya National Union of Nurses. We're also looking at now laboratory technicians who have also said, you know what, we will follow suit. So Ruto's big silence as healthcare system collapses literally. If you walk into a public hospital right now, chances are you will not see a medical officer as well as a clinical officer. And if the nurses make good their threat and the laboratory technicians, that means you will not see nurses, you will see laboratory lab technicians neither. Now, patients were dealt a significant blow yesterday after clinicians made good on their threat to down tools. Major hospitals across the 47 counties were affected by the clinical officers' strike. For instance, at the Coast General Hospital, now beds were empty and health officers say the strike has worsened the situation caused by the ongoing doctors' strike. Now, what we've been seeing for the past 3 weeks now is doctors on strike, and as we've heard from that report a bit earlier on, the KMPDU Secretary General Davji Atela says, you know what, we've got no problem going even 1,000 days or 200 days, as long as some of the issues that they want highlighted are highlighted. This includes what? The medical interns to be posted, as well as their, stipend should be increased. Earlier on, the MOH led by CS Susan Nakumicha had reduced that from about a basic salary of 70,000 shillings to a basic salary of 47,000 bob, and that has angered the doctor's father, who says, the job they do with the risks involved and just how much of an importance healthcare is in the country, that should not be touched. Among other issues as well that have been highlighted by the doctors. Now, amidst all this, one person that has been very much silent is President William Ruto, who's not really spoken out about that issue in public, and neither a press statement has been released. What we saw was, the CS for Health, the CS for Public Service, that is Moses Kuria, as well as the Chief of Staff, Felix Koskei, who held a meeting, a 7-hour meeting for that matter, sometime at the KICC, was it the other week? And no talks, nothing was really agreed upon, which basically paints a picture of just how serious and deep this issue is. So Ruto Mute's health crisis worsens. We've got, various systems that have been paralyzed. Looking at the NHIF as well, currently does not work in private facilities because the government is not reimbursing NHIF money to the hospitals. We're also looking at a transition to the social health insurance fund, which also further means you might not be able to access services through your NHIF in a private facility. Couple of months before the SHIF is in place, you can access that perhaps through private public facilities. So clinical officers down tools, medical officers down tools, dental officers down tools, lab technicians are threatening to down tools, nurses are threatening to down tools as well. So it is a looming hazard in the health sector across the country. Now, Holidays as well. Beware if you ask your child to work. A lawyer has moved to court seeking orders to compel parents and guardians to only give adult jobs to those above 18 years. He wants minors allowed to learn and play. So it's also a question of what sort of job will you as a guardian or as a parent be giving your child this particular holiday. Most schools have closed. Some are expected to close this week. Then they will reopen about the last month, the last week of April, or the start week of May. So lawyer is seeking to stop increased cases of child labor. You walk around the streets of Nairobi, sometimes you'd see a child selling you a banana or selling you biscuits or selling you, a drink. Well, that is one of the things that the lawyer seeks to put to a halt. Also, schools close as MPs dig on fund delays, CDF fund delays. Students are struggling, parents are struggling with this delay of CDF funds. Also, succession fight could kill ODM, Raila won. So I'll talk a bit about that on the Star newspaper, as well as why there's no other like Safari Rally, as Kenya successfully hosted the WRC rally over the Easter weekend. Now let's cross over to the Daily Nation that speaks on the National Dialogue Committee report. Big divide over NADCO report, the big divide over NADCO report. And, Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah's promise document will be implemented in full. Now, the Kenya Kwanza team that was at the center of these talks include Cecilia Ngetich, Dr. Linda Musumba, and Ndegwa Wahome. On the Azimio side, we're looking at Amos Wako, Judith Pareno, and Julius Njiraini. This is a team that is in charge of implementing those particular reports or recommendations. War of words. Even as President William Ruto and his Kenya Kwanza Alliance named their team of 3 to the bipartisan panel that will evaluate the 2022 electoral process, some in the Azimio camp are accusing the government side of a plot to sabotage the full implementation of the Bomas report through a court process. However, question is this really the case? So the National Dialogue Committee report that was agreed upon by the two sides, we saw the team submit those reports to Raila Odinga. They submitted it to William Ruto later on in the day. And, they said that now basically as sketches the way forward in terms of what will be achieved or what should not be achieved. Some of the recommendations may require a referendum, including the creation of the office of the opposition leader, creation of the office of the prime minister and his 2 deputies. These are some of the or recommendations that are basically entrenched in the constitution. So if you want to change that or to add that into the political system, you will have to go back to the drawing board. And where's the drawing board? The referendum. So Ruto names poll audit team amid war of words over NADCO report, the big divide. We've seen Kalonzo Musyoka and Eugene Wamalwa have been basically at the center of saying, we need this report implemented as soon as possible. And he says he's very much interested to hear what Raila Odinga will say, because neither Raila Odinga nor President William Ruto have spoken about the NADCO report after it was submitted to them. No timeline of when it will be implemented, despite the fact that, basically there was a rush in 2023 to have this report, have the talks, get agreed upon, and give Kenyans the feedback. So Ruto names Paul's audit team amid a war of words over the NADCO report. Musyoka warned that should the Kenya Kwanza regime try to interfere with the IBC reconstitution, which was part of the committee's mandate, then they will go back to the streets. Now, a court order has actually been put upon that particular implementation. Odinga reads Riot Act amid ODM succession battle. Like I've said, I'd speak about this because it is the headline on the Star. Also, I'll visit Joey in prison and forgive him, Monica Kimani's father now says. And that is a story that is on page 3, where Bishop Paul Ngarama, who is the father to the late Monica Kimani, says he's forgiven Joey, plans to visit him in prison. Now, Ngarama says he wants to reconcile his family and those of Joey and Maribe. So, interesting to see how that develops. And then finally, to the Star newspaper, Raila desperate bid to defuse ODM party. Raila's desperate bid to defuse ODM war. Odinga is also considering to have Oparanya lead party deputized by Joho and Opiyo Wandayi. So An interesting article actually that was put out by one of the local dailies was how KANU parties, fall is basically being reflected in this war in ODM party succession war. Now, Wycliffe Oparanya, the former county governor of Kakamega, says there is no automatic successor, but people must vote through the existing structures. We cannot dismiss the possibility that Raila can also name one. ODM chairman John Mbadi says, I appeal to our people, those who want to lead and those who simply want the party to remain strong, to exercise caution, restraint and moderation. Opio Wandai, the minority leader, says nothing stops me from presenting my name for such a position if it were to fall vacant, an eventuality that I don't foresee now and in the near future. While ODM Deputy Party Leader Hassan Joho says there are people in ODM who are calling me saying I am going too fast and that I should go for talks. I am not talking to anyone. We will talk on the ballot box when it comes. So, Raila desperate bid to defuse ODM war. He actually was in the coastal region on Sunday, and this is what he exactly said. So, this succession talks should cease because, number one, he's not left the country yet. He's not gone anywhere yet. He's still around. Two, he also says, it is not a question of regional lines that should be drawn, that, a leader from the western region or from the coastal region or from the Nyanza region should be the party leader, but it's also a question of democracy and fidelity to the party, and that is one of the basics of basically, if the time comes, who will be chosen to be the ODM party leader. So two names that have really popped up on this race is that of Wycliffe Oparanya and Ali Hassan Joho, and eventually perhaps more name will crop up. We're looking at, for instance, Game Member of Parliament Elisha Odhiambo, who says he very much wants to be the deputy party leader now of the ODM party. And that is a story that is on page 4 and 5 of the Star. An implosion feared as former Prime Minister in a delicate balancing act to steady his party to avert imminent fallout if he wins Africa's top job, the African Union Commission chairperson. Now there's tension as Azimio Western leaders eye running mate and Raila's option in move to quell succession war. What basically, it's a question of what options does he have? And, one of the key things that he said is, there's not even vacancy yet. Why are there even talks of succession talks within the party when there's no vacancy as of now? So in case you'd really want to know more about that, we had a conversation around this on Monday last week on the battle for ODM party. So you can perhaps get a sneak peek into that as well. 30 years, not death for man who killed neighbor. People often make threats they rarely are keen to see through, but not in the case of Joseph Douglas. In the morning of August 19th, 2007, he told a neighbor that he was looking for John Mwinzi to kill him. The neighbor, knowing the temper of Douglas, frantically reached out to Mwinzi and told him about the threats to his life. He told him that he should be safe, but unfortunately, never the case to be, as 30 years, not death for man who killed neighbor. So that is the headline on the Star. Raila's desperate bid to defuse ODM war. Daily Nation speaks of big divide over the National Dialogue Committee report, while the Standard speaks of Ruto's big silence as healthcare systems collapse. Those are your newspapers. All right, do allow us to take a quick breather, but when we come back, that conversation on the job market will be coming to you. We, due to popular demand, we actually had a conversation around how do we bridge the university education and the job market. We are chunking out a lot of graduates, but none of them, or at least most of them, are not accommodated in the job market. So questions were asked, answers were given. When we come back, we'll be listening into that conversation once again. So stay with Morning Live.
They need one. So this is some of the mismatch that we have between the academia and the labor market. So meaning we have to be deliberate.
Yeah.
We have to be deliberate and we have to acquire the relevant skills. I've sat on interview tables for accountants. Somebody has CPAK and BCom. You tell them, what can you do for us?
Yeah.
They say anything. Give them a laptop. Tell them to do a simple bank reconciliation. Out of the 10, 5 walk away. Out of the 5 remaining, 3 cannot attempt. Then you're wondering, how did they acquire these skills first of all?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we acquired them because of competition. We needed to pass. We did not acquire them for the knowledge purpose. And nowadays, knowledge is not enough. We are in the era of skills revolution. So it's an era of certification.
Yeah.
I was taking a simple analysis, and you can tell me because you use this.
Yeah.
How long can a knife work in your kitchen before it needs sharpening? How long would you use your knife?
That's an interesting one. That's an interesting one because I've never really even thought about it. That's an interesting.
At most a week before you sharpen it. So the future job holder will need to have a profile. They need to be futuristic. They need to jump the ship quickly. They need to have a mentality of throw anything at me approach. Let me ask, we are not in an era of combining skills. The way you used to say you combine CPA with BCom. We are in an era of career branding. Yeah. We need a lawyer who is technologically savvy so that they can be able to investigate online fraudulent claims. We need maybe a BCom guy who also have product development skill. He can become a product owner. We want people in IT who have the agile and scrum master skills. And these are some of the careers that are coming up through the World Economic Forum.
Yeah.
So my advice is, if we had undergrad today, I would say study one of the areas that you have been called for or you have been admitted for, but make sure you use psychometric assessment so that you are able to understand whether this is in your interest.
Yeah.
Because if that degree is not in your interest, then it means that it will keep on changing.
Yeah.
And I saw that data, and I made my own data where I was in the university. Out of a class of 3,000 whom we are admitted in that one
course.
Yes. 2,000 people changed before we finished. So meaning they had been admitted on the wrong courses. So what about the others who never changed? And what did they change into? You'll be shocked. People are changing into arts. You are leaving a prestigious course, you go to arts.
Yeah.
And who said that engineers and doctors are the only happy people in this world?
Yeah.
Yes. So I hope I've answered the first question of why we are having this gap.
Yeah.
The problem is these graduates, if they do not get an employment, they cannot employ their skills. And what were we told during graduation? Go and do what appertains to your degree.
Yeah.
So your degree did not appertain for you looking for a job. It appertains with you applying it. So I give this analogy and I say this is like the analogy of a blind man who visited a friend, and when he was leaving, because it was dark, he was given a lamp. He went holding the lamp above his head, and at some point he got knocked by someone on the road. And then he was angry and saying, why would you knock on me and I'm holding a lamp? Can't you see me?
Yeah.
Then after searching for the lamp, the man who knocked him along the road asked him, which lamp were you holding? He said, I had a lamp. The guy told him, your lamp went out a long time ago, but you are still holding it. Could it be the case that we are holding degrees that are outdated?
Wow. Good one. Now, before we get to just this person that has now joined campus, yeah, let's talk about that boy or girl that is still in high school,
yes.
Particularly in Form 4,
yes.
when it's that point they're given choices to, you need to pick your careers, you need to pick universities that you'd love to go to. Earlier you said there's a disconnect with our 844 system, which is being phased out. That was more focused on it's a competition basically. What will you get that will allow you to join university, but not a question of is it a competent grade that can allow you to get into a skilled course
Yes.
in campus. So for these pastors that are still with 844, because we still have about 4 years of that curriculum before it's phased out, as they make that decision, what should they be looking forward to, or what should they be looking at as they make a decision on what course to choose?
Actually, this is what we are doing around the country, visiting high schools and advising students as early as Form 1 that all subjects are important, but there are 4 subjects that will form your career. There are 4 subjects that are called cluster subjects that will make you get to the university. Despite you doing 7 during KCSE, 4 will make you get to your course. Then we ask them simple question: do you know these subjects? No. You select the subjects at Form 2. How do you select them? On the basis either you hate the teacher, either you like the subject, or either you are performing good at it. Personally, I did a reverse. I threw away 4 A's at Form 2 because I had no advice. Agriculture, I said I come from where we farm, I don't need that. History, my grandmother had told me a lot of stories, I don't need stories. Geography, I can tell how the Amadea Ranges looks like. I threw away my 4 A's, which would have formed part of my career, without knowing that the career I was doing, it did not even require sciences. Because where does a Royal Combination cluster require sciences? Where does a BCom guy require sciences to be admitted in the university? So what we are telling these students is, let us help you by the use of psychometric assessment, which has been in use for the past 20 years. It can be able to give you something we call the career interest assessment, can be able to give you a 19-page booklet telling you if you wanted to study finance, legal, these are the careers of interest. Because it measures using something we call the RIASEC model. We say that the individuals who are realistics, the individuals, and the realistic people are the doers, the engineers, the architects. We are individuals who are very investigative, the thinkers, the lawyers, the scientists. We have individuals who are very artistic. These are the creators. We have individuals who are very social, the helpers, the HR and admins. We have individuals who are persuaders, yes, the entrepreneurial people. We have individuals who are conventional and the organizers, the credit guys people. They like structures and policies. So if you have that, you are able to choose your careers very well. And amazingly, the profile of every person, you can be able to do 3 jobs very well. That's why CUSIPs ask you to fill 4. Because they know these 3 you can be able to do very well. So the 4th one, it's either a mix of the 2, like a CRO. CRO would be a mix of sales and marketing to come in to be a chief revenue officer to see where is the mismatch or the gaps. So we are telling students, before you choose subjects, before you drop them at Form 2, can you have your career path? And this is what also CBC is saying. We have career paths from grade 10. What are these career paths? This is to tell them that this is your line in life. So we'll have a very, a very confused era here because there is no repetition. From Form 1 now you cannot repeat, even if you fail, because you are repeating in which curriculum.
Which curriculum, exactly.
Again, the first cohort of CBC, again, they are going to face unknown. Nobody has been there before. So there are no past papers, there are no revision kits. So they will have to be either the initiators or a sacrifice. That's what I see it. But I say at Form 2, everybody should be able to choose their careers based on evidence, based on sound advice. Because this era of putting saliva here and tapping to see where your career is headed, because that's personally how we are doing it. Yes, everybody, you put science here and you put maths here, then you tap, you say maths, you say agriculture. Yes.
Wow. Now, for a lot of people, they're falling trapped to what you've just said, no guidance in schools. Because it's sort of even been commercialized, you have to pay some money for you to choose a course in some of the universities. Is it important to have career guiders, or I'd say career guidelines, or not even career tutors, who are in schools and are there almost full time, so that they can help children to pick these courses, because that is where it all starts. You know, if the moment you have somebody in high school who picks a wrong career in university, automatically means they may most likely not get to the job market. So that is where it starts. So is it important to have career tutors and career guiders based in school there full time?
Very well put. We should have someone who is not on the, what I call the day-to-day teaching. Theirs is to sit and receive students on advisory and counseling services. But we need them now to upgrade into the future of work. Because yes, you can guide me, but what if I don't have any psychological issues or stress? I just need career advice.
Yeah.
So basically, I've been saying, when you are sick, you go to the hospital. When your car has problem, you go to the garage. When a child has want knowledge, they go to the school.
Yeah.
But when they want career advice, where do they go? There are no career centers in this country. So basically, they go to the street to be advised from there. So I would say that we have started that program. I think we have trained already like 50 teachers or so that are in high school, and they have seen the need for them to upgrade to the future of work and the use of psychometric assessment to be able to advise these students. Can you imagine that I had a teacher whose school, I think they had more than 70 A's, and all those A's were on his desk. After completing KCSE, asking them, Maureen, please check which careers I can do because I have this A. And now the teacher was telling me, I think these guys, I'm done with them. They are now supposed to go to KUSIPs and do this.
Yeah.
And do you know this is the first time in Kenya that the parent has been given a responsibility to choose the careers from home.
Yeah.
And do you know what the parents are saying? We have not been sleeping, waiting for this KUSIP's website to open. And what are they doing? Again, guesswork. Fill this one. It's not accepting this one. The next one is accepted. It's accepted that one. The next one. So the child, by the end of the day, they don't even know what they have filled, but they just wanted to make sure that their credentials are on KUSIP's websites.
Yeah.
God forbid you are picked on that of that form. And mostly you'll be picked on the one that you never even wanted. So what happens to you? It means that you have already started on the wrong foot. And anything from guesswork is as disastrous as the first guess.
For sure. Yeah.
So students are doing the work, teachers are doing their best, parents are doing their best by making sure they pay that school fees, but we have a disconnect here. Who is advising? Because your parent might not be the best advisor. Because what if I am also a product of wrong career choice? I will advise you on what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an engineer. I failed, so can you be an engineer? So same thing will be passed to generation. You'll also advise your children, you wanted to be a priest. You never became a priest, so you would want your son to become a priest. So this is not about inherent mistakes. We want to be very intentional, and we want to discover the innate and inherent skills and abilities of a runner.
Yeah.
What were they born to do? Yes.
Now, in university, you'd hear a lot of instances, as you know, as kids are choosing to go to universities, there's this normal statement that you always hear: choose this course, upata kazi ni rahisi. Don't choose this course, hautapata kazi. And that's a statement that either misleads or leads, so you'll be able to tell us about that, which is which, because it has happened to a lot of young people, and perhaps you'd hear them say 4 years after they're finished, I should have listened to what they said, because sitapata kazi. So with that kind of statement, does it really guide or does it misguide whoever is choosing a career?
That is a misguided concept, because there is what we call a career compass. A career compass is once you graduate, the first 10 years, you will really love what you do. Yes, you will enjoy it. Yeah. But after that, the awakening comes, especially just as you are hitting 35, because most graduate at 25. Yeah. Even in 2 Timothy 1:6, Paul was awakening Timothy and telling him, start up the gift of God that has been deposited in you by rain of my hands. Why was Paul seeing that this guy has something deposited in him and is not being used? Let me tell you, you hear people saying that there is midlife crisis. It started there at 35. How does it start? We have a graduate who now says, I really hate this banking job. Yeah, I am going to leave it. Where are you going? I don't know, but I don't care. mental illness starts to come in slowly by slowly. So we start seeing a guy who was not drinking, now he passes by the rocker bar to have his stool for the road. Other vices start cropping up. You have a side chick, I don't know, you have other hobbies like betting and gambling. That's how they start cropping up. But again, I always thank the people who came up with the saying that life starts at 40. So you have 5 years to panel beat yourself. Because at that time you can already panel beat yourself. And I am a product of that panel beat. At that 5, I realized, oh my God, if I die today with corona, what would become of me? Whom was I or were I made to be? And I went back to the Bible and I looked at Ephesians 2:10. For you are God's workmanship, created for the good purpose, which God ordained beforehand. So, which is this purpose for that young person? When you're telling me, I'll connect you with a banking job, go and do that. I was looking for another clip from Uhuru Kenyatta in 2019. And Uhuru was asking people, Jameni, you are saying this child will become a doctor, but if he sees the sight of damu ya mbuzi anazirai. Sasa, which doctor is that?
Hata damu ya kuku.
Hata damu ya kuku. So the Uhuru was asking, nani ameharibu mtoto? Si ni wewe mzazi? Si ni wewe mwalimu? Si ni wewe umemisadvise? Because if today I was asked when I was in Form 4 what I wanted to do, maybe I would be somewhere else. Because all my life, I knew what I wanted to be. But people told me, no, you know, you need this job, you need that job. Look at now, the money that has been used to take me up to campus, and the money that I have used to panel beat myself into modeling what I want to be. And I'm not saying that all people are getting the wrong choices. Some are getting the right choices. Yes.
All right.
Okay.
You have something to add?
No, let me know that. Because I am imagining if I was going to campus, I would be looking at what skill sets are required. Before even I think about that job, what skill set do I possess? Because we are talking about competence-based curriculum. Can you observe a competence of a doctor from a child? What would you use to observe that your child is a doctor? Especially those parents who tell me that my child will be a doctor. I was privileged the other day to have 14 schools bring their top students, 14 schools, for me to talk to them about future of work. Before I started, I told them, just write to me what you want to be. How many doctors do we have? 70% were doctors. I was like, wow, Nakumicha is sorted. But by the time we are looking at a model I call the Ikigai, and it's a book called Ikigai, which Japanese use very easily. The Ikigai says that there is what you love and what you are good at. That's your passion. And that's what students would believe. That this is what I love, this is what I'm good at. But there is what you are good at and what you can be paid for. That's your profession. There is what you love and what the world needs. That's your mission and your call. And there is what the world needs and what you can be paid for. That's your vocation. So have people learned how to create that ikigai, that center balance? That you have a passion, you have a profession, you have a mission, and you have a vocation. Because who said that life is all about going to work, getting home, getting a wife, getting children, paying the bills, then retiring and dying? Would you have accomplished your purpose on earth? Yes.
Now, let's talk about the job market now, because that's where the other big problem lies.
Yes.
I will do my 4-year course or my 3-year course in a particular, career.
Yes.
And then it's somehow difficult for me to be accommodated in a job market, or to at least get even an opportunity to practice what I've actually gone to school for. And perhaps that's where the internship and attachment come in, yes. But is it enough though? Because I see a lot of post adverts. We're looking for people with 5 years experience, 7 years experience. And you're just a recent graduate, the only experience you have is your perhaps 3 months internship or 6 months, and you're sitting there like, okay, so what's next for me? So is it enough for you to just do your 4-year course, do your internship, and then wait it out? Is that enough?
It's not enough.
So what more should we do?
What more we should do is add the skills to your degree. Because a degree can earn you the job, but it cannot help you grow further without the skills. So skill set is what employers are looking for. Employers will always ask you, what can you do? Because they want to know, apart from the other people who graduated, what do you have special that you can do for us? I was talking to IT people, and I was shocked to note that for you to have an intern who is an IT, who can be adopted to the job market, you require 16 months of training. And the intern has 3 months. And probably this intern went maybe in a local farm where technology is not advanced. Now they want to join a bigger company here like Safaricom, where technology is in thin. They need digitally savvy people. So do they even have the skills like critical thinking and analysis, troubleshooting, problem solving and ideation, creativity, technological use, monitoring and control, persuasion and negotiation? Leave alone that. Do they even have the self-esteem and self-efficacy to face the interview panel? Because most people fail at the interview panel. Not that they do not know, they know, but communication is the problem.
Yeah, but no one teaches people how to behave in an interview. No one teaches people that it's a question of, oh, there's a job somewhere, you go for the job. But no one teaches graduates about that.
Amazingly, the good thing is that these graduates are natives of technology. So the time they spend on Twitter and TikTok, they can spend that time self-running. Because these things are there. LinkedIn is offering free courses. Coursera, they are offering also free courses and certification courses at the same time. So, like Excel tips and hacks, I see them daily. Free Excel hacks that you can self-tutor yourself. So, why do they need some of these things? You know, we have been brought in a mind that we have to see a teacher for you to run. So, I am like, do we even know our running styles? Because the brain is divided into 4 hemispheres. We have the cerebral left, cerebral right, limbic right, limbic left. Every area has the type of person they can be, their interest, and they run by which means. Like today, Nanjara, which part of the brain are you using? Is it the verb or the non-verb part? Yes. Because mostly, we do not even know how we consume knowledge. Our cognitive abilities are not sure. Are we dependent runners, collaborative runners? Are we relating? Are we global? Are we telescopic and or wide angled? We are not sure. So most students, if there is no lecture today in the university, they go back to their hostel. How many of them go to the library to reach and do other things? We only want to duplicate the knowledge that we have acquired. So what I would advise is, let them run these skills. Let them realize that the job market have changed. By the way, do people know what jobs are coming up, like in care economy? Jobs like site reliability engineers, the data consultants, the full stack, the Python, the JavaScript, the .NET, the cloud consultants. These are the new jobs that are coming up. The data scientists. Like now, everybody is running to get that data scientist in. But that's one of the many courses that are coming up. And you know what's happening? Nobody is asking whether do you have the interest to be a data scientist or data analytics. They go back to the same thing. This one can get a job. We are in an era, by the way, of jobs and careers. So what's a job? A job is where you clock in, you clock out, whether you like it or not, because you have bills to be paid. A career is something that you do so well that money follows you. Kipchoge Keino, Messi, Ronaldo. Do you see them clocking in, clocking out? No. But they do what they do very well, that money follows them. By the way, how many talents are we nurturing here in Kenya? The talents.
So a talent is a career?
Yes. Yeah. By the way, even to be a good doctor is a career and is a talent.
Wow. Now, you've mentioned something important about trends in the job market, and you've been able to list some of the jobs that,
that are coming up.
Or even in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, what will be on demand?
Yes.
And that's a question that a lot of people just need to sit down and ask, what will be on demand, because it really helps you you're able to predict this industry. It's growing at this particular rate. This is what we're expecting will happen in the next few years. And so are you really able to properly pinpoint what will happen in a particular industry or a particular job market? This is what will be on demand in the next 5 years. Looking at where we are now, 5 years ago, somebody would have been able to predict that at the moment data scientist is what will be needed, or robotics will be the conversation, or AI will be the conversation. Are you able to predict that in a job market?
Yes, very easily, because this information is there. But we are told that if you want to hide something from Africans, hide it in a book. So this information is there from the World Economic Forums 2020, 2021, 2023 is out. And they are saying the same thing, that people will need reskilling before 2025, including me and you. So we are in that era of skills and certification. So look at a job like in marketing.
Yeah.
Marketing has really transformed from growth hacker, growth manager, digital marketing specialist, digital marketing manager, product development, quality assurance, agile coach, software quality assurance, product analyst, scrum master, delivery lead. I mean, if I look at the HR, it's also evolving. Nowadays people are talking about people and culture. You are in the university now, you are telling me you are studying HR. And personally, I know that people are looking for people and culture, because what do they want? Information technology recruiters, human resource partner, talent acquisition specialists, business partner, human resource business partners, sales. Nobody is looking at a sales and marketing manager nowadays. They are looking at sales representative, customer specialist, head of partnership, chief strategy officer, head of business development, just to name a few. Now, how many of these graduates have that and they are tamaking? So basically we've moved from the naive careers where it's just a HR, or it's just this, it's developing to something else. Yes, there are some careers that are slowly dying, and I know them, and I can hear their beep every day. Toop, toop. And when you hear that in the hospital, does it mean the person is on the other side or with us? The person is approaching the other side. Yes, and the doctors are telling you, here, it's about now God. Because we have done our part, that's why we have placed the person on life support machines. Yeah. And there are careers that are on life support machines. It's a big risk, but what careers are those? It's a big risk to mention, but what careers are those? I might mention and make some guys faint, so... Yeah. Okay. But like the secretarial, do we have secretarial nowadays? What were those things that we are doing that were called computer packages? Are we still having someone walking around the line? The factory workers, the line workers, some careers are dying. The clerical jobs, they are slowly dying. The messengers, they are slowly dying. Slowly. Who requires a messenger when you can just call guys that are doing the riders and they come pick? Yeah, true. Where is Posta, by the way? Just to mention one big company. So we need to adopt. Where is Eveready? They refuse to start producing Soras. Eveready is closed. It was in my area in Nakuru. It closed down. As they watch, because they say there is no way battery could be replaced from a torch. Where are we? Wow. Yes. And such an incredible point, Muraya, very incredible point. You've talked of reskilling. That just also means that you're not safe wherever you're working right now. You're not safe, basically, because 2 years from now, I'll give an example, perhaps in mass communication. 2 years from now, it will be, are you just a journalist, or are you a health journalist? Are you a social media, expert? Are you a business? So things are evolving. So reskilling, does it necessarily mean that I have to go back to campus for a short course, maybe 6 months or whatever? Or do I just have to go online, look up and work? With the evolution of technology, you do not need to go back to campus. You need just to choose a course or a certificate course that aligns to the future of work and to your interest. Because what if, like those courses are mentioned in the IT, I know practically I am not an IT person, so I will not go for cyber security just because it's paying, because I am still digging another hole in my life. Yeah. So you just need to know how is your running. If you can be able to run online, so we have the Virtual University of Kenya, by the way. Have you looked at their courses? And I know students are not even applying for it. And that means they can go and get the experience as they study during their part-time. So meaning, you'll need either to go for part-time studies or you need to go to online classes and choose a course. And these online classes, most of them, the program is already set. So you'll only have to log in at your own ample time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's talk about TVET institutions and universities. There's a move to have, you know, diplomas and certificates moved from universities. You can access them, you know, from colleges and from institutions and TVET institutions. Is there a big gap? Are you able to notice that big gap between somebody that has graduated from a university and somebody that has graduated from a TVET institution? Same course. I'll give an example, maybe IT. Same course, they have done it. This one has done a 4-year course, has gotten the degree. This one has done a 2 or 3 years course, has gotten that diploma, or even a 1-year course, has gotten that certificate. Are you able to pick the difference between these two persons? Because that is a big issue that I've seen in a lot of interview rooms. There's the theory person and there's a practical person. Are you able to do that?
I know you don't want to mention who is the other person. You want me to be the devil's advocate, but here we are. Personally, if today I was hiring for a not even technical role, for a role that would require maybe somebody to start at a supervisor junior level, mostly we are looking for the diploma people. Why? Diploma, they are doing examinations that are maybe nationally, maybe from NEC or CASNEBs. So meaning, this person have to really study hard for them to acquire those credit points. Whereas, the other person is studying an exam that is set from the same faculty. So meaning, one faculty from the other one university is setting a different assessment or exam from another university. Okay, I've never known why, because I thought it should be standard, so that when we have graduates, we produce graduates from this country who are not only competitive here locally, but globally. So there is a very big difference, and it have been there. I have seen it myself. A guy with a diploma is able to produce more results than a guy with what I call the shining papers. Because these shining papers make you start thinking that this guy is inferior. He had a C+, you had a B+, and whatever employer needs is the results. Whatever we need is somebody who can perform. So I would say, not that I'm advocating people to go for TVETs and to leave university, but I'm saying, can we have the brand? Yes, let's have the brand. You might be doing one course in the university. There is a lot of ample time. Mostly we have 2 lecture maybe during the day. What are you doing with the other time, by the way? What are they doing? I always ask myself. At high school, they will wake up at 4. They will end their day at 9:30 p.m. So at campus, they will start their day at 8, end their day at 4. What are they doing with this other time? And by the way, Nanjara, there is always a question I always ask people. You work for 8 hours, you are recommended to sleep for 8 hours, so where does the other 8 hours go? Because a day has 24 hours. Nobody has ever been able to tell me what they do with their 8 hours. Because these 8 hours should be able to, either you are sharpening your skills, or it's either you are getting into maybe another, what I would call a side, people call it a side hustle, but mostly this side hustle will make hustle the main hustle. But if you have been able to balance, you can be able to have another thing you are doing with the other 8 hours extra or 5 hours extra that you have. So I have personally, I've advised a lot of people, especially with this concept, and I found guys who are telling me, because I am very realistic, I'm very technical, would you advise me to start this course from where? And personally, I say start it from the diploma level, the TVETs, because you get first-hand skills. Then you can go and get your graduation. When you already have a job that you are doing. Let me ask you a simple question. Your mechanic, which grade did he, or which certificate, by the way, do you look when you go to a mechanic? Because you cannot tell me that you'll buy a new car for 1.5 million and you take to a class 8 dropout to check on it. Well, most of those guys are class 8 dropout. That's why TVET is trying to come into they're calling it the cognition of prior learning or prior experience. Because they need to recognize these people who are doing very good job in this country, and we are believing in them. Actually, like my mechanic, I think he tells me he never completed class 8, but when he tells me that this car is perfect, you can use it with your family to go to Mombasa. I'm on Mombasa Road with 120 speeding because a class 7 dropout assured me that the car is working.
Yeah.
So isn't that a mixed reality? I think I've answered you even below the diploma. You see, I'm believing in my mechanic who is a class 7 dropout, but he's so blessed with his skills and he knows what he's doing and he have mastered that, he's competent with it, that I believe him over and over again to a point of recommending. Yes, I recommend you to my mechanic. Yeah. Without even checking his CV. Yes.
Now, we need to put a disclaimer. We're not discrediting degree certificates.
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
However, from what I'm hearing you say is, it's even possible that a learner or somebody could be doing the degree course, but they're able to also come out and do a postgraduate diploma, right? Because truth be told is, you know, the skills of somebody that has been in technical end of the university, there's a big difference. However, that difference can be bridged, and I've seen a lot of graduates comfortably leaving university, going back to do a postgraduate diploma, and they're just as much qualified as whoever did a diploma. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yes. What I'm saying is, why do you need to waste 4 years when you have gaps of time? Why don't you merge? Why don't you merge the same time? Such that during the day you can do something in campus, in the evening you can do something with your diploma or postgraduate. During your ample time, maybe at night or during the day when you are flex, you can do something online. So meaning you have 3 careers in 4 years, and it's very possible. I did this to some 2, 3, 4 people in 2021, and I'm happy to report that they have already completed their diploma. They have already completed their online course. They are only now left to graduate next year. So meaning it is very possible to achieve the 3 careers that are on your profile. Because like my profile, when I did my career interest, says that I'm ESA. Meaning I'm entrepreneurial, socio, artistic. Therefore, I could have done careers that involve product development, communication, sales and marketing, and maybe something to do with what can make me be creative and maybe that ideation that is in me. Because it's only in Kenya when you mention artistic, people start thinking about musicians, actors. No, artistic people are creators. They are able to create and have those ideation and imagination. And I think CBC because they have those 7 key competencies, and that's one of them. Imagination and creativity is one of 7 core competencies of CBC. And again, we have something CBC, they are calling learning to run. So meaning, learning cannot stop from after you have graduated. Because I meet graduates, you have 10 years after graduation. Are you still offering the employer the relevant skills that are needed in the market? If you're not going back to sharpen yourself. Yeah.
All right. We also have a big trend of Kenyans that are seeking for, you know, jobs abroad, and you know, unemployment is such a big crisis in Kenya. And I'll pick it up from the youth, you know, who have got a 12.15% unemployment rate in Kenya. This, you know, issue of going abroad, does it solve the job market? Does it really, you know, ensure that, oh yes, I've graduated, I'm able to get this particular job abroad? You know, mostly it could be something that you studied. Other times it could be, you know, you're just looking for something to put on your pocket or even on your table. So for Kenyans that are seeking for employment abroad, you know, have they completely solved this gap between education and the job market? Have they solved it?
We cannot continue exporting our intellectuals, and it's unfortunate that we have to send graduates out of this country, and when they go out of this country, they will have to study again, including the doctors, because whatever we studied, it's not recognized. And when I say it's not recognized, it's because we started maybe in a Kenyan curriculum that is not applicable. Even in South Africa here, a BCom guy here in Kenya will have to study something else in South Africa for them to be absorbed. You'll be lucky enough if you are using your hands or the doers, the waiters, the cleaners. Personally, one time I had gotten a job to go to Australia and I was very excited. But I asked, what am I going to do? And somebody told me I was going to pick oranges, to pluck oranges. I said, wow. You want to mean from the day I arrived, I'll be an orange plucker? Yes, but you get $500,000. So you go to that job because you're getting the $500,000. But how does that make you feel? Of course, it will alleviate the problem, but we'll have to look into what does those other countries need, so that we can start studying there. Because if I know I would want to go to US, I would start merging my courses, maybe from edX. From edX is a consortium of 190 universities, including Harvard and MIT, so that as I continue to study with my local degree, I'm also doing a certification courses that can align with where my mind wants to go. So that when I go there, I can switch and use that certificate or that postgraduate degree that I have, so that I fit in that labor market. Yes, so this will solve it in the meantime, but how many of them are able to go? Yes, because even the going, how much are they charging? If you are lucky, right now, to get an agent who will charge you less than $500,000 for a visa to US, if you are lucky. How many people have $500,000 in their bank account today?
Very few. Right. So, Murai, you've got a few minutes to wrap it up. And I'd love us to now wind down this conversation. Can we completely alleviate this gap? Because actually I'll get you a feedback of somebody that has just sent in and says, we'll talk about bridging the gap, but the government, or putting that in action with this government, will be difficult. So how big of a role does the government have to play in ensuring that we are cutting off the unemployment rate in the country?
It's a tall order, because government talks about basic education, and basic education ends where you get a certificate written Kenya. The moment you receive that certificate at Form 4 written Kenya certificate of secondary education, the government says that that's a basic education. Whatever we do thereafter, and this is from my own research and I can prove, whatever we do thereafter is from our own interests and our own volition. So the government has, yes, the room to do this, but the government has to work with the private sector to create these jobs, to create an ample environment and enabling environment, to create structures and infrastructures that are working. And unfortunately, when will these graduates also join in creating, like whatever I'm doing today? I tried to call graduates of psychology. I told them I'm not going to pay you, but if you follow my footsteps, in 7 months, you can be able to do it on your own. They were like, are we going to work for free? Pro bono services? No, you have to pay us. But then, I am paying you, but I'm creating for you an employment avenue where you can self-employ yourself and you can apply your own skills and experience. Yes. Until we get to that point that we are producing thinkers, not workers, it will be difficult to change the momentum. Yes. But I'm seeing hope. I'm seeing hope with CBC, because I was looking at a verse in Ecclesiastes 9, 10, and 11 that says that whatever your hands find to do, do it with your might, for there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave where we are going. And this was Paul saying that I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor battle to the strong, nor bread to the wise, nor riches to men of understanding, nor favor to men of skill, but time and chance happens to us all. So, my dear graduates, my dear job seekers, time and chance is happening to us all. Do not let time pass because time never mark times. So do not continue mark timing, saying you are looking for a job, doing the same thing every day and expecting different results. I've seen a guy who is a graduate but is selling smoking and is making 3,000 per day. So you better be that guy who is doing something to make life meet.
Yeah.
Because sitting idle actually will only alleviate your stress problem and your mental issues and health issues.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. What a way to wrap it up. Joseph Muraya, the Chief Executive Officer of Central Careers, thank you for your input this morning. And you know, one thing that I've really picked from this conversation that we should run by it is that let us not be just consumers of jobs,
yes,
but also creators of jobs, because that mentality that I must be hired, I need to finish so that I can be hired on is perhaps one of the biggest contributing factor to the unemployment rate in Kenya. So thank you for your insight this morning. In case you're just tuning in and you've missed this broadcast, you can rewatch it across our social media platforms on EBN TV. We thank you for your feedback. Keep engaging us throughout the day, and we'll be able to get Muraya here to answer to some of your questions, if any. So that is why we want to wrap it up this morning. I'm Cynthia Nanjala. Coming up at the top of the hour is Your Faith Today with Reverend Felix Kavoy. Enjoy the rest of your programming.
Thank you.